There is a truth so deep, so paradigm-shifting, that once you truly grasp it, you will never look at your world the same way again. Nothing around you is truly real until you decide it is. The reality you're living in isn't solid. It isn't fixed. It isn't sitting there waiting for you to discover it. It's waiting for you to observe it into form. This isn't just spiritual language, it's the revelation at the heart of quantum physics. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists witnessed something astonishing. When electrons weren't being observed, they acted like waves existing in multiple states at once, spread across infinite probabilities. But the moment an observer entered the picture, the electrons collapsed into particles, into something tangible, into reality. Observation changed the outcome. The observer didn't just watch reality, they created it. Which means you are not a passive bystander in this universe. You aren't here to endure a script you didn't write. You are the one orchestrating the quantum stage. You are the observer, and, even more than that, you are the one collapsing infinite potential into single reality. And yet, most people live as if the world is already predetermined, as if circumstances are set in stone. They wake up and replay the same cycles of thought, the same reactions, the same emotional patterns. They keep observing what isn't. By doing so, they keep recreating it, again and again. Not because they want to, but because they never learned how to look through a new lens. But what if you did? What if you stopped observing your life through limitation, and instead chose to observe with curiosity, with faith, with intention? What if, instead of seeing lack, you chose to notice potential? What if instead of reacting from the past, you began responding to the future that's calling you forward? This is the invitation of quantum manifestation, and it begins in this moment. Because reality is not something that simply happens to you, happens through you. The quantum field, this invisible ocean of vibrating possibility beneath everything, is brimming with potential. It doesn't respond to what you say you want it, responds to what you observe with emotion, with energy, with coherence. The field doesn't listen for words, it listens for frequency. So let me ask you, where is your attention right now? Every moment, your focus is like a beam of light illuminating one version of reality over another. Are you shining that light on fear, doubt, and lack? Or are you aiming it toward trust, gratitude, and vision? Most people try to change their lives from the outside in. But true transformation, true quantum shifting, begins the moment you choose what to observe differently. Because every time you engage emotionally with a thought, you observe it. Every time you dwell on what isn't working, you feed it energy. You make it more real. And every time you shift your focus toward a greater possibility even before it appears, you draw it nearer. You begin the process of collapsing potential into reality. This isn't wishful thinking, it is a truth of quantum physics. As Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And that energy becomes the instruction that the quantum field responds to. Not your struggle, not your force, but your awareness, your embodied state. That means you don't have to fight your way into a new life. You only have to become the observer who sees a new reality unfolding. You must trust that the world is not fixed, it is responsive, sensitive, and fluid to the focus you bring. So, if everything around you is waiting to be observed into form, what will you choose to see next? This is where a new way of being begins, not as someone wishing for life to shift, but as someone consciously choosing how to meet the field, moment by moment. As a deliberate creator, a faithful observer, let this be your beginning. Because what comes after will forever alter how you see, feel, and create your world. Your consciousness is not confined to your brain. It isn't limited by space, time, or circumstance. It is the invisible sculptor of reality, the silent artist shaping possibility into form. The world you perceive is not the source of your inner state, it is the mirror of it. And that reflection begins long before any external event. Pioneers like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Amit Goswami, and Bob Proctor have spent decades bridging the realms of science and spirit, reminding us that consciousness is the root and matter the branch. Amit Goswami put it clearly, consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. This flips everything you've been taught on its head. It transforms you from passive observer into active creator. What does that really mean? It means your focused, intentional awareness begins folding possibility into form, that what you consistently observe with feeling becomes physical reality. The field itself is neutral. Your awareness gives it shape. Your attention provides the form. In the quantum realm, particles remain waves until they are observed. In your own life, your attention is the instrument of collapse. It doesn't demand action, it demands presence. It doesn't require a perfect method, it requires inner coherence. It doesn't depend on outer conditions, it depends on inner alignment. When your mind fuses with feeling, when emotion merges with clear intention, your consciousness impresses a blueprint onto the field. And that blueprint becomes the silent code that reshapes your inner world and eventually the outer. Some call this intention setting. Some call it manifestation. Others simply call it quantum creation. This is where ancient spiritual practice meets measurable science. Joe Dispenza points to the shifts in brainwaves, physiology, and electromagnetic fields that occur when you hold elevated emotion with clear intention. Bob Proctor said it perfectly. It's not the words that paint reality, it's the energy behind them. It's not the wish, it's the state that sustains the wish. Consciousness is not just personal, and it is also non-local. This means your awareness has the power to influence reality across distance, across time, even before something exists in physical form. You don't need closeness, you need presence. You don't need proof, you need inner conviction. This is the revolutionary shift. The world outside isn't the cause, it is the reflection. Your consciousness is the seed, the soil, and the source. The field is the ground of potential, and your observation is the gentle activation that invites possibility to take shape. So when you feel powerless, remember, you are not powerless. You are infinitely creative. You are the conscious agent sculpting your world with the precision of your focus and the purity of your state. This is your invitation to pause, to breathe, and to bring your awareness back home. To remember that consciousness isn't passive, it is endlessly generative. That your life isn't just happening around you, is unfolding through you. Creation doesn't start with struggle, it starts with focus. Every single moment, your life is being molded by where you place your energy. Not by what you say you want, not by what you hope might change, but by what you repeatedly observe, react to, and feel within. Attention isn't passive, it is magnetic. Each second you are awake, you are tuning your inner frequency, and that frequency is communicating instructions to the quantum field. Your attention is more powerful than effort, more potent than willpower, stronger than discipline, because energy follows awareness. Wherever your attention rests, your energy gathers, amplifies, and begins to shape your world. That's why the same patterns of thought create the same feelings, which produce the same choices, which recreate the same reality. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's energetic law in action. Your emotional focus is the vibration that tunes your field. Your thoughts don't just narrate your life, they activate timelines that match their frequency. So when you focus on what's lacking, what hurts, what isn't working, the field reflects exactly that. Not out of judgment, but out of resonance. When you continue to watch your life through the lens of limitation, you unintentionally anchor it further. Your inner state of observation becomes the architecture of your next experience. You look at what is, you react, you watch again, and the cycle continues. But when you redirect your focus to new possibility, to something aligned with your highest self, and you do it with emotional presence, you begin to collapse a new reality into being. You stop replaying the past and start vibrating the future. This is the secret that so few dare to practice consistently. To stop observing what I sand, choosing to observe what can be, as though it already is. That's how true quantum change begins. You aren't pretending you are focusing. You are becoming the observer of a higher pattern until that pattern finds stability and takes shape. The old self always wants to check facts, measure progress, validate fear, replay memories. But the quantum self knows a deeper truth. The only real reality is the one you stabilize with your emotions within. If you keep observing limitation, you expand it. If you observe potential, you unlock it. Here's the energetic shift. Observation must become intentional. Your focus must become sacred. You are not here to passively watch what already exists. You are here to witness the unseen into form. Each time you bring your full presence to the experience you desire, love, abundance, peace, vitality, and you embody the emotion of already being it, your attention becomes the catalyst. Not wishful hoping, not empty affirming, but a deep inner decision to observe what the world hasn't caught up to yet. This is the essence of conscious creation, choosing to see before the evidence arrives, holding the frequency of your highest timeline before there's proof, not because you're naive, but because the field responds to your observation, not your conditions. And here's the empowering truth. You don't need to purge every limiting belief. You only need to be more devoted to your desired focus than your familiar fear. The quantum field does not require perfection, it needs consistency and coherence between your chosen focus and your emerging identity. So the invitation is both simple and radical. Watch your focus like a sacred compass. Interrupt the reflex to observe what you don't want. Gently withdraw attention from stories that hurt. And over again, place your awareness where your soul is calling you to look. Because what you observe with love cannot help but become real. You were never here to be a passive witness. You came to shape this life with your presence. Many still wait for the world to change, waiting for love, health, opportunity, safety. But in the quantum realm, nothing moves until you observe it into motion. Nothing becomes real until your consciousness tells the field, this is what I am choosing to stabilize. This is the threshold where your identity shifts from someone reacting to what is, into someone collapsing reality into what you decide. You are not merely watching this movie, you are directing it. You are the lens, the light, the script, the screen. And every moment you pay attention to something with feeling, you are assigning it weight in. The quantum field. You aren't simply watching it, you are collapsing waves of potential into particles of experience. This is why certain patterns repeat. When you keep observing them, you feed them with your energy, and the universe infinitely precise reflects them back. This isn't punishment, it's precision. The quantum field doesn't deliver what you deserve. It delivers what you continue to reinforce through your focus, your emotions, your state of being. That's what makes you powerful, and why so many remain stuck in cycles they wish would end. But here's the shift. When you begin to observe a new story, even before you see it with your eyes, you start weaving new possibilities into reality. Not because you forced them into being, but because you witnessed them long enough, clearly enough, with enough emotional resonance that they had to emerge. That's the essence of collapse. Potential becomes presence, and it happens through you. When you understand this, you stop outsourcing your change to the world. You stop saying, when life brings me peace, I'll feel peaceful, and start saying, when I observe peace within me, life will reflect it. Imagine you're looking at two realities. One is a timeline where you keep repeating old doubts, proving your limits, measuring what's missing. And the other is a timeline already alive in the field where you are free, abundant, joyful, and loved. Both timelines exist, but only one becomes physical, the one you choose to observe with consistent, heartfelt focus. That's what true acting as if means. It's not faking, it's not delusion. It is choosing to observe what isn't yet visible until it is. You become the one who collapses the possibility when you stop reacting and start choosing. When you look at what is and declare, this is not all there is. I choose to witness something greater, you claim authorship over the field. And as you do, the gap between inner and outer shrinks. What was once imagination becomes your lived experience because you saw it as truth before the world did. So here's your invitation. Begin observing your future self as if they are already here. Feel their energy. Imagine how they speak, move, breathe, and choose. Hold that vision close like it's already your reflection. Because in a universe ruled by observation, the most magnetic thing you can do is see what others cannot and become it. There comes a moment quiet but profound when you realize the universe isn't testing you, punishing you, or withholding anything. It is simply responding. The field doesn't judge your past, your worthiness, your plans. It reads one thing only, your frequency. And it reflects that faithfully, exactly, every single time. That's why life can feel confusing, because while your conscious mind asks for one thing, your vibration might be saying something completely different. You might be visualizing abundance while vibrating in scarcity. You might be affirming love while radiating fear of rejection. You might be dreaming of freedom while emotionally clinging to control, doubt, or comparison. And the field, it doesn't judge or weigh your intentions. It simply reflects back what you are consistently being. It's not personal. It's vibrational. This is the shift in awareness that changes everything. Manifestation isn't about convincing the universe of what you want. It's about aligning your energy with the version of you who already lives it. That version already exists, already vibrates in the field, but you can't access it through a frequency that contradicts it. The field cannot bring you peace if you are vibrating chaos. It cannot deliver worthiness through the vibration of self-doubt. It's not because you're unworthy, it's because the vibrations don't match. So what do? You let go of trying to force outcomes and begin tending to your inner state. You begin the sacred practice of noticing your thoughts, not condemning them, but witnessing them. You tune into your emotional baseline, not how you feel once in a while, but the frequency you return to over and over. Because it's this baseline that transmits your signal. It's who you are when no one is watching that sets the tone for the reality you live. When you take responsibility for the signal you're sending, everything shifts. You move from being a victim of circumstances to being the creator of them. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What am I vibrating that is inviting this in?" Not from blame or guilt, but from awareness and power. The field is your mirror. Yet most people try to change the reflection without changing the face they're showing it. They try to attract more money without healing the energy of lack. They seek love without becoming someone who knows they are already lovable. They try to shift the outer world while ignoring the inner one. And the field keeps responding. So here's your moment of activation. Ask yourself now, what am I consistently observing? What emotions am I rehearsing? What frequency am I living in when I'm alone, when I'm working, when I'm not trying to impress anyone? This isn't about perfection. It's about steady practice. It's about choosing again and again to return to the frequency of who you want to be until that frequency becomes normal, and then it becomes your reality. When you realize the field is neutral, you reclaim all your power. Because if it isn't judging you, it also isn't limiting you. There are no cosmic gatekeepers, only energetic agreements. And you can renegotiate them starting now. With every breath, every belief, every moment of conscious presence, you are casting votes into the field. You are declaring, "This is who I am." And the universe reflects exactly what you choose. Let this be the shift. You do not need to earn your dream life. You simply need to resonate with it. You must broadcast it. And you must do it with the emotional integrity of someone who is already living there. This is why this moment matters. This is your invitation to stop reacting and start radiating, to stop asking and start declaring, to stop explaining and start embodying. The field is already listening. If these words stir something within you, write in the comments, "I am choosing what to see." Let this small act become a vibrational Ancora message to the universe that you are now seeing life through the lens of creation, not reaction. There is a place within you untouched by circumstance, unmoved by appearances. It is the part of you that simply observes without fear, without projection, without noise. This is the frequency of the silent observer, and it is more powerful than any effort you have ever made. The silent observer does not try to force manifestation. It does not chase outcomes or argue with what is. It understands something deeper. Reality shifts not through force, but through stillness. Not through wishing, but through steady presence. In the quantum realm, everything exists first as potential, a wave of countless possibilities. That wave doesn't collapse through struggle. It collapses when you observe with clear intent, when you see with certainty, when your presence becomes coherent with your desire. This is why so many try for years to change their lives, only to find nothing moves because they keep observing their present with resistance, focusing more on their fears than on their future. And the field responds to the lens you choose. The power is not in what you say, it is in the frequency from which you observe. When you approach the field as the silent observer, free of panic, free of judgment, anchored in quiet faith, you become magnetic. The things you used to chase begin to come to you, not because you did more, but because you became more empty of noise, full of presence. This is not passive. It is one of the most profound practices you can embody. To witness your life without falling into the trap that what you see now is final. To hold space for what wishes to emerge even before it appears. To remain centered while the world shifts around you. Because you are no longer waiting, you are aligning. The silent observer is not disconnected. It is radically connected without the desperation that clouds the signal. It watches from above with steady knowing, understanding that every scene is still unfolding, and nothing is final until you observe it with your soul. In this frequency, you remember, reality is not some force outside of you, it is the reflection of your awareness. And the more silent, certain, and coherent your awareness becomes, the clearer the echo in your life. So how do you live from this place? You begin by practicing presence. You guide your nervous system to feel safe in uncertainty. You let go of the habit of constant analysis. You watch your thoughts like passing clouds, letting them drift without attachment. You breathe deeper, you move slower. You return, again and again, to the part of you that simply sees. And from that seeing, creation flows. The world will still bring distractions. Old patterns will tug you backward. The ego will whisper that you should do more. But each time you return to the frequency of the silent observer, you reclaim alignment. You remind the field who is directing the signal, and you witness as life reconfigures itself around your vibration. This is the seed of true power. You don't need to manipulate outcomes. You don't need to rush into spiritual rituals out of fear. You only need to observe with your heart with presence and quiet certainty. Because in this state, you are no longer separate from what you desire. You are the field itself remembering its own essence. And when you truly see that, the wave collapses, the illusion fades, and the miracle becomes real. So here's the final call. Release the need for proof. Become the presence that draws it in. Let go of striving. Embody the frequency. Don't just picture the life you want, observe it from the part of you that knows it's already yours. Because the silent observer does not create by accident, it creates through coherence. It chooses what to witness, and then holds steady until it appears. Let this be your signal, a shift in how you engage with life, and an awakening of the creator you already